Welcome back, everyone. This is Uhfgood, and today we're going to finish this rollerball game. And hopefully it'll take the full. Let's start this thing. Hopefully it'll take the full four videos to finish this off. But if not, then maybe I'll look into starting my little demo. So let's get into it. If you notice here, while this is still 720, 1280 by 720, I expanded this out. This is expanded out to so everything fits, and of course this is still the same, and this is on top of everything because I have set it to always be on top. So, little slightly different setup than the last time, than I suppose what you saw yesterday a little bit. So let's get started here.
Counting, displaying text, and ending the game. We need a tool to store the value of our counted collectibles, and another tool to add to that value as we collect and count them. Let's add this tool to our player controller script. Select the player game object and open the player controller script for editing.
Okay.
Let's add a private variable to hold our count. This will be an int, as our count will be a whole number. We won't be collecting partial objects. And let's call it count. So, in our game, we will first start with a count of 0. Then we will need to increment our count value by 1 when we pick up a new object. First, we need to set our count value to 0. As this variable is private, we don't have any access to it in the inspector. This variable is only available for use within this script, and as such, we will need to set its starting value here in the script. There are several ways we can set the starting value of count, but in this assignment, we will do it in the start function. In start, set our count to be equal to 0.
Okay.
Next, we need to add to count when we pick up our collectible game objects. We will pick up our objects in onTriggerEnter if the other game object has the tag pickup. So this is where we add our counting code. After setting the other game object's active state to false, we add our new value of count is equal to our old value of count plus 1. There are other ways to add, count up, or increment a value when coding for Unity, but this one is very easy to understand, and this is the one that we're going to use in this assignment. Save the script and return to Unity.
Now, before that happens, I will go into the script because the player controller is here. I will go ahead and put private int count. In the start menu, we'll say, or start menu, in the start function, we'll say count equals 0, and when we do this, we'll say count equals count plus 1. A little tip here, count plus plus will do the same thing. He isn't going to say that though because he's just, beginner thing, right?
Now we can store and increment our count, but we have no way of displaying it. It would also be good to display a message when the game is over. To display text in this assignment, we will be using Unity's UI toolset to display our text and values.
Ooh, UI.
First, let's create a new UI text element from the hierarchy's Create menu. Let's look at what we've added to the hierarchy. We seem to have gotten more than we bargained for. We don't just have a UI text element, but we've also created a parent canvas element and an event systems game object. These are all required by the UI toolset. The single most important thing to know about these additional items is that all UI elements must be the child of a canvas to behave correctly. For more information on the UI tools, including the canvas and the event system, please see the information link below. Rename the text element count text. So let's customize this element a bit. The default text is a bit dark. Let's make the text color white, so it's easier to see. The size and alignment are good. And let's add some placeholder text, count text. We want our text to display in the upper left of the screen when the game is playing.
Okay, so let's do the thing. Well, let's do the thing first here. Okay, so let's go ahead and here I'm going to go ahead and close this down a little bit. And we're going to create UI text element and call this count text. count text, count text. What I wonder is, where is that count text? Because what's that long line for? Is that text all the way over there? I don't get that. Well, let's see what this says anyways.
We can see that the UI text is currently displaying in the center of the screen in the game view.
It's actually not on mine, so I don't know why. Let's just switch it to white. Okay. That's fine, but I am not seeing. Why is that over there? I don't know.
This is because the text element is anchored to the center of its parent, which is, in this case, the canvas. It is worth noting that the transform component on UI elements is different from the other game objects in Unity.
Okay, so it's different. So let's see something here. If I said 0, 0. There it is. I don't know why it actually put it over there though, which is kind of weird, but whatever, I guess.
For UI elements, the standard transform has been replaced with the rect transform, which takes into account many specialized features necessary for a versatile UI system, including anchoring and positioning. For more information on the rect transform, please see the information link below. One of the easiest ways to move the count text element into the upper left is to anchor it to the upper left corner of the canvas, rather than to its center. To do this, open the Anchors and Presets menu by clicking on the button displaying the current anchor preset. When we re-anchor this text element, we also want to set the pivot and the position based on the new anchor. So we will hold down both the Shift and the Alt keys, and then select the upper left corner button. That's done it, it's up in the corner. But now it looks budged up against the corner.
Okay. So let's do this. Shift and Alt. Okay.
Of the game view. Let's give it some space between the text and the edges of the screen, as we are anchored to the upper left corner of the canvas, and we've set our pivot to the upper left corner as well. The easiest way to give the text a little breathing room is to change the rect transform's pause X and pause Y values. 10 and minus 10 seems about right, with some room around it, yet it's still up and out of the way.
10.
So let's wire up the UI text element to display our count value.
Minus 10.
Start by opening the player controller script for editing. Before we can code anything related to any UI elements, we need to tell our script more about them. The details about the UI toolset are held in what's called a namespace. We need to use this namespace, just as we are using Unity Engine and System Collections.
Okay.
So to do this, at the top of our script, write using unityengine.ui. With this in place, we can now write our code. First, create a new public text variable called countText to hold a reference to the UI text component on our UI text game object. We need to set the starting value of the UI text's text property. We can do this in Start as well. Write countText.text equals the string value of count, space, plus count to string. And we need the parentheses. Now this line of code must be written after the line setting our count value. Count must have some value for us to set the text with. Now we also need to update this text property every time we pick up a new collectible. So in onTriggerEnter, after we increment our count value, let's write again countText.text equals count, space, plus count to string.
Okay, let me go ahead and do that. So we need using Unity Engine .ui. That we need text. Okay, so public text count text. I don't know why this is supposed to be public though, because you're going to be changing it each time. So count text dot text equals count dot to string, just like that. And we also need it down here like that, and Control S.
We've now written the same line of code twice in the same script. This is generally bad form. One way to make this a little more elegant is to create a function that does the work in one place, and we simply call this function every time we need it. Let's create a new function with void setCountText, and then an empty set of parentheses and brackets. Now, let's move one instance of this line of code into the function by cutting and pasting it. And in its place, let's put a line of code simply calling the function. Finally, let's replace the other line with a function call as well.
Okay.
Excellent. Save and swap back to Unity.
Alright, so let's back them up just a hair. Void, okay, void setCountText, I get it. Void, wait. Okay, void setCountText. Okay, I'm just going to type it out because it's just a little bit more convenient for me. Equals count dot to string, just like that. And now let's just call it set count. Whoop. And we just need to call it ones up here too. Of course, it's got to be after count. And there we go. Delete this. And actually, let's see if I don't remember, but I should be able to do a rename here. So rename setCountText to update count text. Kind of makes sense here because we're not setting it. Setting implies that we're passing a value to it, and this just means we're updating it. So whenever it changes, we're updating the text. So that's just something that I like to do. That doesn't mean that anybody else has to do it. Okay.
Then swap back to Unity. Now we can see our player controller script has a new text property. We can associate a reference to our count text simply by dragging and dropping the count text game object into the slot. Unity will find the text component on the game object and correctly associate the reference.
Okay. Oh, I see, a text dealie. That's why it was doing that, right? Because this is a text object, you might say. And so then if we make it public, then when we switch to Unity, we can actually go ahead and, where is that at though? The player controller script. Player controller script. Or not the player wait, what? The player. What am I thinking? There we go. Player controller script, count text. Now we take count text, put it in there, and probably save it.
Now let's save, enter play mode, and test. Aha! Not only do we collect these objects, but we count them now.
Neat. I know I'm a little bit late. It's 15 minutes already. Just let me play this just once real quick. Oh, right, because I didn't actually add some text to it. Alright, that's my bad. Okay, so let's go back into the script, and instead of just count to string, we want to do count colon space plus there, just like that, to concatenate, and then go back into Unity, and then we hit play, and there we go. And that's all she wrote. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and stop it here because I went way too long, and I will see you in the next video.